Hello, this is Darcie the Dog Trainer, owner and head trainer of CommuniCanine Training and Behavioral Counseling, where it's my passion and purpose to connect dogs and people. And today I want to give you a little bit of information on how to get your dog adjusted to having a baby in the house before the baby actually comes home. So if you're first-time parents, your dog's going to have a big transition ahead of them, and we want to make that transition as smooth as possible. So the first thing I want you to think about is not doting on your dog right now. A lot of moms or parents will dote on their dogs before the baby comes, knowing that their attention's going to be diverted to the baby when it arrives. And what happens for the dog is it goes from being slathered in attention and being the focus of attention to suddenly out of the picture completely. And that's a really big hit for a dog. It makes no sense whatsoever, and that can be a big adjustment. So to make that much easier, right now, don't overcompensate. So just let your dog be a dog. Walk them as you normally do what you normally do, but don't go overboard with it. Now, there's also things you're going to have to get your dog used to, like strollers and bouncy chairs and rattly toys and change tables and blankets and diapers and all kinds of things that your baby's going to have around and be using around the house. So I would recommend starting to go for walks pushing the stroller even though you don't have a baby in it right now, because it's going to be much easier for you to train that dog to walk nicely beside you when there's no kid in that stroller than when there is one there and the dog's pulling your arm off and the child's safety's at stake. So start practicing now. So hopefully you've got lots of time before your baby arrives, and you can practice. Every time you take the dog out for a walk, your stroller's coming with you now. Practice having a bait like a doll and moving around the house carrying the doll, and I mean, the dog's going to know it's not a baby, but your intentions and your attention and the way you're moving and interacting with the doll is going to be similar to what you're going to do with the child when it comes. And it's going to make it a lot easier for your dog to figure out, like, oh, mom just is doing this thing again with this new person. And if your dog shows any inappropriate behavior towards the doll, like maybe jumping up or licking it or being invasive of its personal space, you can start training it now to back up and to be more polite and to have some boundaries around you when you're holding something like that. So again, it's a lot easier to teach your dog those things now than it will be when you have the baby. If you have a really gentle, laid-back dog, that might not be an issue for you, but if you have a very outgoing or energetic, bouncy dog, you're going to want to think about getting those boundaries in place beforehand. One really practical exercise you can teach your dog before that baby comes is the placemat exercise. So teaching your dog to go to their mat and hold it down, stay on a mat. Because there's going to be times when your baby's on the floor and you're trying to change its diaper and your dog's going to be in there probably trying to eat the dirty diaper, because, listen, I've seen it all. And you're not going to want your dog in your space. So a really good downstay in a particular spot, I call it placemat, because you can have a blanket or a bed or a little throw rug or whatever that you take anywhere with you, that as soon as you put it down is your dog's spot where they go and hold a downstay. And you can use that to your advantage, so that when you're busy with the baby, when you're nursing the baby and your dog is getting in your way, you can tell them to go to their placemat for a few minutes. Or when you want to play on the floor with the baby and you don't want the dog right there in your space, you can ask them to go on their placemat for a few minutes. So it's a really useful exercise to have available to you. Obviously, you're not going to ask your dog to stay there forever, but just use it as needed when you need a little bit of space, when you need the dog and the baby to have a little bit of space from each other. So if you're expecting, congratulations, and have fun getting your dog used to all the things that come with babies before they arrive. See you next week.